Alright, welcome back to 2K14 Universe. I am your host, Chich, and you're watching NXT.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing the Nexus, from Cape Town, South Africa, weighing 213 pounds, Justin Gabriel.
Well, thankfully, we've got to focus on singles competition here tonight on NXT after being burnt the last couple of weeks. And here tonight, tag team specialist Justin Gabriel looks to face off against Tensai. These two right now are the top contenders for the NXT Championship, as a matter of fact. Biggie Langston taking on all comers. He says he wants to be a fighting champion. He welcomes his first challenge, and it's very likely going to be one of these two.
Approaching the ring, weighing 360 pounds, Tensai.
Both of these two, I'd say, very, very successful in their history on Raw and SmackDown alike. I don't believe Tensai was ever on SmackDown, but Justin Gabriel, you know, multi-time tag team champion, US champion, Intercontinental champion, Cruiserweight champion, very decorated. Tensai, the very lengthy tag title reign with Yokozuna earlier this season, and of course, who could forget his dominant reign as European champion at the start of, I believe, this year. So shit. And yes, I'm sure I've already been corrected on it many times, but it did just dawn on me that I believe Tensai lost his European Championship to Daniel Bryan, I believe. So Bryan is a former singles champion. I was talking before about how he hadn't ever actually won a title barring the hardcore title. I believe Bryan is in fact a former European champion. I think he had a very, very short-lived reign. But yes, I believe he is a former champion. I can't remember if Bryan won or lost the European Championship when it came to Tensai, but those two had some kind of title exchange between them. I think he's who beat Tensai for the title. Well, I could be wrong about that. Either way, speaking of the new NXT champion, Biggie Langston will be main eventing tonight's Halloween episode of NXT. That's right, it's October 31st, 2012! What are you dressing up as today, little Timmy? What will you be wearing when you go trick-or-treating later on today, the 2012 Halloween? How old are you right now, and what did you wear? I mean, what are you gonna wear? What will you be? Will you be old enough to be partying instead? Will you just be boozing? Are you gonna be a slutty cat maid? Or are you gonna be a little pumpkin because you're like 7? I can only remember 3 times I dressed up for Halloween as a kid. My earliest memory is when I first lived in the US when I was like 5. I dressed up as a Pikachu. Other than that, I think I might have dressed up as like a vampire once and like a Reaper. There was like really basic stuff because I wasn't really that into it, because here in the UK, Halloween is damn near an ordinary day. No one decorates, really, at all. There's like no decorations up anywhere. Just ask Bryce. I showed him a picture of my street. The Halloween week, I believe it was. Just an ordinary street. The only thing that happens on Halloween here is people throw parties, and kids trick or treat, but like not that many. But none of the like, you know, none of the like major festivities and stuff. You don't see a lot of carved pumpkins. You don't see a lot of like the houses decked out with Halloween decorations and stuff. None of that stuff you see in the movies in the US. Which, my god, that's actually real. I did not realize you guys actually live like that, because the last time I lived in the US, I was only there for 6 months, and I was indoors most of my time there 10 years ago. And I don't remember anything from when I was 5. I think I remember it being really decked out. I remember there being like Halloween everywhere you went. But like, it's so vague. Anyway, Halloween here on NXT could be a great night for Tensai as he looks to put away the former tag team champion Justin Gabriel into the cover. And he gets him with that butterfly suplex. We're gonna say this must edge Tensai closer to Biggie Langston's new NXT Championship. A very impressive victory from Tensai tonight as he continues to impress here on NXT. I truly think he's one of the greatest guys we got here on NXT right now. I love me some Tensai. Well, anyway, we move on. Up next, Darren Young, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, looks to face off against one of the new threats, the new tag teams here on NXT. Jake Roberts assembling the Titans known as Big John Studd and Wolf Kessler. We now know they are members of what Roberts calls the Snake Pit. And up next, Studd represents the Snake Pit against one half of the tag champions, Darren Young. Hey, BJ!
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. Making his way to the ring, representing the Terrors from Los Angeles, California.
They don't have a call name for the Snake Pit.
67 pounds. Big John Studd.
Well, there's a guy who's kind of, he kind of fits the, to be honest, not to like break the kayfabe of the series from it, he kind of fits the mold of like the real life, like early NXT, like 2012 NXT, where like, you just kind of see people fluctuating from like one thing to another. They're just experimenting. And I think Big John Studd is trying to find that place where he belongs right now on NXT. And I think the Snake Pit might just be it. I think him and Wolf Kessler, you're looking at two giants, two very dominant superstars as a team. Jake Roberts has brought together a very strong combination here tonight. And tonight he has left Studd to do this alone. You know, with that simple mantra, I'd imagine, of just make me proud. Go out there and win. Beat a tag team champion.
And approaching the ring from Miami, Florida, weighing 239 pounds, one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Darren Young.
Obviously, there's a lot of room right now on NXT when it comes to the tag division to try and step up and improve and show what your worth is. And I think Darren Young and Titus O'Neil are in for a great tag team title reign right now as they are a solid combination. Two close friends. And our main event up next is going to be an interesting one. Biggie Langston, as I mentioned before, wanting to take on all comers, has offered up a match to one guy who a lot of NXT has slept on recently, despite the fact that he is very impressive in the ring and a well-known veteran around the whole wrestling world, and that is, of course, Bruno Sammartino. So Biggie Langston has said he will take him on tonight. I must admit, Bruno is someone who hasn't really had a lot of opportunity, hasn't really had a lot of chance to showcase his talents just yet here on NXT. This could be a regret for Biggie Langston. Darren Young, right now, I was going to say, very much using his speed to his advantage. I did not... Oh, okay. Ooh. I've been trying a new thing where I pause the recording in between, like, setting up matches, as to not have, like, loads of editing to do. And I keep thinking I've like forgot to unpause the recording. It's basically just like mini editing for me to just save some time. But I don't think I remember to pause 90% of the time, to be fair. I think the reason I just panicked there is because I actually hadn't paused in the first place, which is why I thought I hadn't unpaused. These two kind of matching their attires tonight, barring those red shoes. You know, the size advantage for Big John Studd, it's definitely there, but it's not as prevalent as I thought it was going to be. Darren Young lifting Studd up to his feet. And I never noticed Darren Young had a tattoo before. Honest to God, I never noticed. I'm now very curious what he has on his arm. Darren Young still wrestles these days, doesn't he? He's Fred Yehi, I think his name is. I hope I'm saying that right. He's in like New Japan, isn't he? I think he's like actually pretty good these days. from what I've heard. Fred Rosso. That's his name. Who's Fred Yaki? Who the hell is that? That is also a wrestler. Oh. I must have got my Freds mixed up. Oh, he's in Impact. That's probably why I know it. No, Ring of Honor. I don't know then. Okay, I don't know how I even knew the name Fred Yaki, to be honest. Fred Rosser is his name, my bad. Oh, he's in the NWA and New Japan. I remember hearing he's pretty decent in New Japan. I'm not interested. I won't watch New Japan. Not my kind of show. But like, that's good for him if so. I hope he's improved. Because I liked Darren Young as the primetime players. I thought his little run with Bob Backlund was decent. Obviously, he is kind of a mid-card wrestler, but the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't like when people like won't like someone because they're a mid-carder. Like, well, they're not competing for the world title, so I don't care. Like, mid-carders are good too. They're still worthy of being enjoyed. Sometimes they're the best part of the show. Darren Young, leg drop after leg drop. Oh no, leg drop, elbow drop. Oh, and a fist drop on top. The dynamic styles of Darren Young. And oh my god! Gut check! Cover attempt here on Big John Studd after the gut check, and he kicks out. And I do think Darren Young, he kind of winded himself after that gut check. It took him a while to kind of get his bearings. I mean, that was definitely a big guy to lift up on his shoulders. But yeah, I think Darren Young, what was that, like 2016 or something? I think he would have had a pretty good run as IC champion if they actually pulled the trigger on it. I don't think it would have been anything like legendary, but I think it would have been good enough. Take a look at Carlito, for example. He's someone I really enjoy, but I think he's always been right as a mid-carder. I think he could have been a world champion, but I think it would have been like one of those kind of short-lived ones. I think he's one of those guys that, like, good to put in a world title feud, but you wouldn't necessarily put the title on him. Darren Young going in for a second gut check and a reversal there by Big John Studd. I believe they call that an upper mid-carder. Cover attempt on Darren Young. Just a 2 count. No, sorry, just a 1 count. Sorry, the ref's hand hit the mat. But I think Darren Young had kicked out before the count of 2.
Great reversal. Oh, look at this. He's hurt bad. An unfamiliar sight here. Big John Studd's in trouble.
Unfamiliar? What are you watching? I'm not saying Big John Studd's a loser, but he doesn't have the most success. I mean, his first tag team partner is literally the worst guy on the entire NXT roster, Sergeant Slaughter. Smart move getting rid of him, by the way. I think that's really going to revive the career of Big John Studd effectively. The less we see Slaughter on NXT, the better. Kick to the midsection of Darren Young. Oh, over the ropes.
Wild strike misses the target.
Oh, the Darren Young classic. Boom. Got him. All that money.
What's he going for here? 2. 3. Back into the ring now.
Big John Studd kind of stunned here. Darren Young and Studd going at it for a lot longer than I thought they would.
And there are the ropes. This has been a war.
This has been a surprisingly back and forth contest between these two tonight. Last time Studd and Young's partners Titus and Wolf faced off. Titus defeated Wolf, as a matter of fact. There was a show of respect from the two afterwards. Wolf loves Titus O'Neil, and ooh, there it is again. Second gut check in the match. That's got to be it. That's got to be the finishing point in this match. Cover on Big John Studd, and one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions, Darren Young, with a real David and Goliath victory here. And I was gonna say, speaking of Wolf's respect to Titus, respect from Big John Studd to Darren Young. The Snake Pit respect the primetime players. Well, there you have it. Darren Young is victorious as we move on to our main event. Big E Langston, Bruno Sammartino. I believe this is a first-time face-off. Well, he's one of wrestling's biggest legends. Obviously, he's a newcomer in this universe, hence his time here in NXT, but undeniably one of wrestling's biggest legends. Primed and ready to go here tonight. Biggie Langston may have made a mistake in giving this guy an opportunity here tonight, non-title. But obviously, if he beats Biggie Langston, he does propel himself right to the front of the line, much like Dolph Ziggler this Monday on Raw when he defeated Randy Orton, the new WWE Champion. What a sight to behold.
From Tampa, Florida, weighing 302 pounds, the NXT Champion, Big E Langston.
This guy here absolutely busted his ass to get that NXT Championship around his waist. And I think it's going to take a lot to take it off of him. However, I do think he's not going to be at 100% here tonight. This is going to be a tough challenge for him. I hope Biggie is ready for this match against Bruno Sammartino here tonight. Yeah, he's had a couple weeks to recover, but he went to war with Andre the Giant for the NXT Championship. That was one brutal main event. Unfortunately for Big E, the headlines are still somewhat focused on Andre and obviously now where he'll end up next. But for now, this man is the top, the heart and soul of NXT. So here we go, Big E Langston and Bruno Sammartino one-on-one. It's our main event of NXT here tonight. So far, we've seen Darren Young pick up a victory over Big John Studd. In our opening match, we saw Tensai defeat Justin Gabriel. There's a lot of focus right now on who will be next in line for those championships, as obviously with the Nexus now at the back of the line. Justin Gabriel, Wade Barrett, they've got a long way to go before they're getting those title opportunity again. And obviously, when it comes to the NXT Championship, Big E Langston, fresh out of challenge right now, as Andre the Giant, the former champion, is out of NXT, which means a new challenger must arise. Now, of course, there will be an EYS challenge in 2 weeks' time here on NXT. We could be seeing someone else come here to NXT, or someone leave NXT would probably be the more appropriate way to put that. There's no telling on who that's going to be. I believe next week we'll be having a qualifying battle royal, as obviously right now there isn't really a lot of superstars that are necessarily prepared to leave NXT. We haven't really had anyone that's built up a lot of momentum barring the champions themselves. I mean, we could be looking at a first time, perhaps a former Raw or SmackDown superstar leaving NXT. Or say former SmackDown. I don't think there are any former SmackDown superstars on NXT. I think every single EYS has been someone going to Raw. That's been like a success. There have been challenges to SmackDown, but right now the bottom ranked guy over on Raw is Rowdy Roddy Piper. Over on SmackDown, I believe it's Rey Mysterio. So be very interested in finding out what exactly unfolds next week, and potentially EYS. Imagine if Sin Cara. I mean, I don't think he's only just gone here in NXT. I think there's like a short period of time you have to be on the brand before you can compete in an EYS to leave immediately. But imagine if Sin Cara won like a qualifier for an EYS match and then like faced Rey Mysterio. That would be some emotional turmoil, I imagine, for Ray and Sin Cara. I mean, obviously the thing about that is you get to choose whether you want to challenge for Raw or SmackDown. So in a way, it wouldn't necessarily be like he would have to have wanted to target Ray, which would then maybe mean no emotional turmoil for Sin Cara, just Ray. But I don't think that's necessarily something that's going to happen. As I said before, I believe Sin Cara is too fresh here on NXT. I just said that there were no former SmackDown superstars here on NXT, and then I remembered Sin Cara is in fact the first and I think only to come from SmackDown. He lost to Fandango as a cover attempt there from Big E Langston. Oh, and there's that big takedown. Big E wasting no time against this wrestling legend, and that's a 2. This could be a massive win for Big E Langston here tonight. Big ending on Bruno Sammartino. And has Big E Langston just defeated Bruno? Yes. Well, he might have been a massive wrestling legend 50 years ago, but times have changed a lot since then. And I think he just got a little humbled by the defending, well, not defending, but the champion. He didn't defend that as much. Big E picking up a simple victory over Bruno Sammartino in our main event here tonight. Congrats to the NXT Champion. Who will step up? Who will be the first challenger for Big E? Well, we'll probably find out sooner or later. Right now, though, Big E is victorious. I thank you for watching this Halloween episode of NXT, and I'll see you this Friday on SmackDown as Survivor Series draws near.